Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. Tensions flare once again at the Senate as the Blue Ribbon Committee resumes its investigation into the flood control scandal. Under scrutiny, a string of allegedly anomalous projects and supposed collusion between contractors and politicians. Let's get on point with Senator JV Ejercito, who joins us on the line. Senator JV, good evening. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for your time.
Hi, Pinky. Good evening. Nice to be back on point. And nice to say hello to your viewers and your listeners.
Thank you for your time. Sir, you know, during the hearing, sa pagkahaba-haba po nung hearing, yung point po na kayo po ang nakapagpaamin dito kay Bryce Hernandez regarding this kickbacks or yung hatian, wherein he finally revealed that ang sabi po niya, tig 20% ang kanilang nakukuha, si Bryce, si JP Mendoza, Paul Duya, and 40% daw kay Henry Alcantara. What was your reaction when you heard this?
Well, it seems, Pinky, that they are all part of it, no? Henry Alcantara being the district engineer and si Bryce being the assistant then and the JP Mendoza, they were all part of this collusion, no? In this notorious engineering district in Bulacan. So what's happening right now, Pinky, is that they're already finger pointing at each other on who's really the mastermind of this scheme. And the good thing about it, Pinky, as you said, kahit paano umamin si Bryce about yung sharing. And the previous hearing under Senator Marcoleta back then, they umamin din siya, no, that they really existed, the ghost projects, and it was him and JP Mendoza that really had this modus, but under the instructions of DE Henry Alcantara. That's according to Bryce.
Yeah, so actually that's where I wanted to go, because from the time that I was watching the hearing today and even during the House hearing, and I believe even the previous hearing at the Senate, in my mind, sir, and you are free to correct me if I'm wrong, is that it seems that all the questions are mostly asked kay Bryce Hernandez po at hindi po sa kanyang boss, si Boss Henry. Bakit ho ganon? Parang lumalabas parang mas bida, sabihin na lang po natin, si Bryce Hernandez kaysa sa kanyang boss na si Henry Alcantara.
I would think that, Henry Alcantara is also part of it, no? But he was honest enough to admit that he was negligent. Sa tingin ko, Pinky, in other words, tamad lang siya, that as long as he was getting his fair share or his portion, he was already happy, no? And he admitted signing these papers, even if he didn't know that those projects were not really constructed. So I think my feeling is that it was really Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza that really knew the details and operation, and even Sally Santos of Sims Construction, which got a lot of projects from the district office and did a lot of the ghost projects. According to her, that she was forced to lend her license to Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza kasi po in-house nga daw. Meaning in-house, ano lang yan, paperworks, so there's no actual project, but she was forced to lend her license of the fear of not being able to get any more contracts. So being a contractor, she had no choice but to lend her license to them for their use.
Right. So sa kanila po, ang lumalabas ho kasi magkakampi si Bryce Hernandez at si JP Mendoza versus Henry Alcantara. That's how I'm seeing this actually unfold. Because you have Bryce Hernandez saying that he did everything upon the instructions of Boss Henry. When si Henry Alcantara naman po, ang tinatanong, ang sinasabi naman po ni Mr. Alcantara, wala nang sinabi itong si Bryce Hernandez, kundi si Boss Henry at si Boss Henry. Sa kanilang dalawa ho ba, sino ang inyong mas pinaniniwalaan?
Well, it's difficult because I think both of them are guilty. It's just a matter of weighing who is the most guilty among them, kung sino talaga yung mastermind. But thinking yung isa pang I would want to ask on the next hearing, yung si J.M. Ramos, no, the engineer that refused to sign yung pong acceptance kala Bryce and JP Mendoza kasi nga po ghost nga daw. So I think he would be a key figure in this hearing, and that other engineer guy earlier who spoke about it, no, about ito pong modus nila Bryce and JP Mendoza. So yun po, and also I asked Bryce and JP how come they had to ba't kailangan nilang gawin yung ghost projects? Sabi ko nga, alam mo, minsan may pakialam naman pakinabang, pero ba't naman gagawin mong ghost. No? I mean, di ba, mas, at least may substandard, meron gagawin, deliver what is due, pero ito gagawin ghost. And he was saying that tumaas na daw yung tara. No?
That's right.
That's one more thing that we have to pursue. And kung sino talaga yung proponent, I was trying to ask who the proponents are, be it a politician or be it a higher DPWH official. So hopefully we can extract this information in the coming hearings. No? Because
sir,
I don't believe, yes.
You can only get that from Bryce because Henry Alcantara is pleading ignorance pagka tinatanong ko may proponent, hindi ho ba? Kasi itong si Bryce ang nagsasabing may proponent, may politiko. Ito naman pong si Henry Alcantara ay nagsasabing wala akong alam sa sinasabi ni Bryce.
Yeah, that's the thing, Pinky. And also, if we can, siguro kung ma-invite yung mga higher DPWH officials who were mentioned, no, yung mga USECs who were mentioned, probably they will have some information who the proponents are. And if you would base it, Pinky, ayokong kalimutan yung testimony ni Congressman Tiangco the last time, no? That he brought some evidences that this district in Bulacan and in Mindoro,
Oriental Mindoro,
nag-bloat yung kanilang budget due to insertion. So we have to put the pieces of the puzzle together, hopefully in the coming hearings.
Okay.
Kasi I don't think people will be happy with these DPWH officials who will be prosecuted, eventually jailed. We have to know who are the proponents, who are behind them.
We have to know who the politicians are, sir.
Yes. I mentioned that, be it politicians, legislators, or even higher DPWH officials. I'm hoping that they will tell the truth, no? That's why I think, sabi ko, sometimes it's awkward that they're investigating ourselves because there are suspicions that legislators are part of it. So I think the independent commission will be I'm hoping that they will do a good job in pinpointing who really are guilty over this flood project scandals.
Yeah. Senator, between Bryce Hernandez and Henry Alcantara, who do you think is the mastermind?
I would think that Henry is the but it was Bryce and JP who were doing the modus on the ghost projects. So they are all equally guilty.
Opo, pero bakit sila magkaaway ngayon? Is this laglagan lang ho ba?
Laglagan na to. Yeah, laglagan na yan. They're trying to blame each other already for the scheme nung nahuli na sila. But when during the good times, if you remember, that they were going to the casinos together. Ano nga sila, BGC boys nga sila, di ba? So, ganun talaga. Sometimes you get caught, you tend to blame each other.
But between the two, Senator JV, who do you seem to trust more?
Well, I'm hoping that they will both talk already. Kaya lang, inaano kay Engineer Alcantara, parang he doesn't want to say anybody above him, no? Pero he was honest enough to say that he was negligent to sign everything. Parang inako niya na kagad. But si Bryce is saying that there are people behind, yun nga, yung mga proponents. So that's whom we want to find out.
And let's talk about Sims construction, because I also noted that when you were doing your line of questioning, you were quite observant dito po kay Sally. Her name is Sally,
Yes.
no? Of Sims.
Sally Santos.
Opo. And sinabi mo nga sa kanya, not exactly these words, pero napansin niyo ho kasi na medyo, she was very nervous during today's
Yes.
hearing as compared to the last hearing. Ano ho yung naging paliwanag niya dito?
Well, probably from the last hearing until now, she was jittery, she was scared, nervous. Last time, she was very confident, pointing at Bryce and JP. Sabi ko, ano bang diferensya? Sabi niya, they were there. May mga threats daw because there are cars roaming around their houses. And I think, Pinky, crucial doon yung calls din ni the conversation ni Bryce and JP with her na which they are not hindi lang inaamin
They
pero
initially
it was
denied it.
in her affidavit. Yes.
Opo. Di ba?
That
Nung
they
tinanong
did
niyo
talk.
po, sabi nila, parang, was it you who asked that
They were denying. Yes.
Opo, ng September, nagkaroon ho ba kayo ng pag-uusap ng September, to which Bryce Hernandez was saying, I don't think so, wala akong maalala. All right, just very quickly, sir, I know I don't have a lot of time. Yung sinasabi niyo pong very important, yung sinasabi ni Congressman Toby dito po sa allegedly malaking insertion sa Bulacan, and I believe this is Oriental Mindoro. There's been obviously a leadership change in the Senate from Chis Escudero to Tito Soto as Speaker, and then, of course, the bigger story yesterday, Martin Romualdez out and Bojie Dy in light of these leadership shakeups. What kind of advice or what should be done so that a similar incident doesn't happen again, or to kind of like establish their hold doon po sa kanilang mga respective positions?
Well, Vicky, in light of these scandals, as I mentioned earlier, when I was interviewed, these leadership changes in both houses are a good start. It's a reboot, so to speak, because both houses are on fire, no? Because of these scandals, nagsiraan na rin yung both houses. I'm hoping that we can move forward, and maybe if you notice my line of questioning, I wanted to find out the modus, because in aid of legislation on what we can do to pass, what we can pass and do, so that there will be safeguards in the future that these scandals or this kind of modus will not happen again. Because we're talking about billions already, Pinky, that we are losing, not to corruption. Sabi ko, mas mabuti pa, di bali na I mean, if compared to these ghost projects, basta meron delivery. Di ba?
I heard you say that.
Yeah, pero this one's, I said that imperial levels na ito. Imagine.
Pero parang, Senator, when you actually said that, to be quite honest, I disagreed. I know, very idealistic. Pero talagang, naintindihan ko po yung inyong linya doon na grabe na kasi talaga pag ghost. Pero kahit substandard, hindi po natin dapat parang let's not set the bar low. Hindi ho ba? Of course.
I was just saying that because it's a ghost project na sobra-sobra na, di ba? They already earned. I did not mean that we can tolerate substandard or yung meron silang pakinabang, but I was talking about how really bad it was because ghost na nga
How it's gotten.
Kita nila. So it was about that. No? I don't want to be taken out of context.
All
but
right.
we do not tolerate, of course.
It's good.
Thinking.
It's good that you clarified that. Yung last question ko na lang, sir, as a follow-up. dahil nga po nagkaroon nung dalawang change of leadership. Any advice so that these leaders, will cement their foot and their positioning sa kanilang respective leaderships in both houses of Congress, sir?
Well, Pinky, in the light of this scandal that has rocked both houses, I'm hoping that, as mentioned by new Speaker Bojie Dy, that he will not protect or defend the guilty, and that's a good start. That whoever, no stones should be left unturned, no? That though the guilty ones be punished, so that we need to cleanse and bring back the respect and integrity of both institutions that have been damaged severely because of this scandal. Thank you.
Senator JV Ejercito, sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Pinky.
We'll be taking a short break. When we return, we'll speak with Kabataan Partylist Representative Renee Co about yesterday's House leadership shakeup. Stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. The House of Representatives elects a new leader amid corruption allegations against several congressmen. With a commanding 253 votes, Isabela Representative Bojie Dy replaced Martin Romualdez as House Speaker. But 28 lawmakers abstained, including Kabataan Partylist Representative Renee Co. She now joins us via Zoom. Congresswoman, good to finally have you. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello po, magandang gabi. Maraming salamat po sa pag-imbita.
Anytime. Unang-una po, Congresswoman, bakit po abstain ang inyong naging boto?
Well, sa amin, bilang part ng minority bloc, masaya kami sa posisyon namin na tuloy-tuloy yung aming gawain sa committees, sa Committee on Appropriations lalo, na critical doon sa spending ng administration. And ang analysis nga namin, even though may change in leadership in the House Speaker, as long as the system persists, which is the system of private contracting, of infrastructure, and other services, wala pong pagbabago. So, bahagi po kami ng nag-abstain and pinanghahawakan yung gantong trabaho sa loob ng Kongreso at syempre sa labas.
Para ho ba sa inyo, Congresswoman, isa itong cosmetic change na bagay po na inilarawan, if I'm not mistaken, ni Congressman Marcoleta. And let me add to that, si VP Sara ay sabi, same-same lang daw itong naging reaction niya sa pagpalit ng speakership ng House.
Well, siguro ang important distinction to note ay meron tayong recognition that there are different cliques in the Marcos ruling clique and may lumalalang infighting sa loob. The change in House leadership is one aspect of that. And at the same time, naniniwala kami na yung change in House leadership, it is a way to pacify the people, to provide a sort of illusion na merong pagbabagong mangyayari. But ang mas nakikita pa namin, decisive yung pressure na minount ng public, ng mamamayang Pilipino that forced this hand. So ang kailangan ay mas ipakita pa ng mga mamamayan yung kanilang galit laban sa korupsyon. And one thing for sure, this change in leadership will not pacify and hindi rin magbabago sa attendance ng protests this coming September 21 and future actions beyond.
All eyes nandyan po sa bagong speaker kung anong kanyang mga susunod na hakbang. Para po sa inyo, Congresswoman, ano ang kanyang dapat gawin para nga doon sa ilan, sinabi yung kanyang speech ay maganda naman daw, para po, kumbaga, walk the talk?
Well, una, meron tayong mga questions and criticisms in relation to how the different institutions, agencies have used their budget. Ang isang unang nakikita kong pwedeng sign ng commitment ay may institutional changes na ipopropose ang kabataan, ang makabayan bloc. Gusto nating ma-reflect ito sa magiging resulting budget. Ikalawa, yung ating ongoing na pananghahawakan that this 250 billion pesos that came from flood control projects, which I may add, no, the historic high ng proposal ng flood control projects, and is a significant chunk din ng dapat na 1.5 trillion pesos na ilalaan sa flood control since Arroyo, and 1 trillion of which came from the Marcos Jr. administration. I-realign sa education, sa kalusugan, sa pabahay, at everything else na necessary for the daily subsistence and pamumuhay ng mamamayang Pilipino. But again, despite these, unless matanggal talaga at the roots yung problema, which I can discuss no as this interview goes on, these changes are incremental, no, and won't change the fact that contractors exist. Contractors have a incentive to profit and will find holes in the law to continuously exploit them for their own benefit.
Katulad po ng ilang mga panukalang batas coming from the former Senate President Chis Escudero and now si Majority Leader Sandro Marcos, hindi ho ba meron silang bill ngayon that they are putting forward that prohibits rather relatives from participating in government projects until the 4th degree? Do you think something like that will work if it's passed into law?
We actually passed a similar bill, no? And I'd say na isa kami sa mga nauna this 20th Congress.
I see.
Dahil we actually filed it on June 30, first day of the 20th Congress, bilang show of force na ito yung ating priority legislation.
Okay.
But yes, isa po ito sa mga nakikita nating steps na magka-curb ng malalang korupsyon. Pero let me be clear, no, na hindi ito yung magsosolve ng korupsyon. But tama, ang amin din ay 4th degree of consanguinity and affinity yung pagbabawal natin na tumakbo kung meron ng ganong mga relatives na nakaupo sa local and national possessions.
Right.
Ang nakikita natin, no, ginagawa kasing business ang pagpasok at pag-upo sa politika.
Okay.
Ginagawang profiteering machine ang government either through passing policies and laws that will be beneficial to their business. Kung ano mang mga fields yan. And two, directly, no, pangurakot sa mga projects, sa kickbacks, or even sa salaries ay diretso ito sa bulsa ng iilan at hindi po ito magkakaskade doon sa dapat na proyekto, dapat sa benepisyo na nakita ng mga constituents at mamamayang Pilipino. And so, alongside political dynasties,
Yeah.
clipping them, no, there must be something done sa kung paano ba
Okay.
hindi dapat any lang papasok sa party lists, no?
Congresswoman,
And
yes, let me cut
represent
you
the
there.
sectors.
That was a lot that you were saying, that a lot came to mind, no? And I hope we have you here one day so we can discuss further. But two things that come to mind. When you were talking about that, ginagawa na tong kalakaran, ginagawa na tong profiteering, dalawang bagay. Number one, the political dynasty, and number two, the party list system, which you actually really mentioned just now. Let's zoom in, let's focus on that just very briefly. Panahon na ho ba talaga at papaano? Hindi, siguro iibahin ko po yung tanong ko. Papaano ho ba natin ipapatupad na gawin na pong batas ang nakasulat sa 1987 Constitution na magkaroon naman lang ng enabling law na pagbawalan na ang mga political dynasties? That's my first question.
Siguro, dalawang atake yung gusto nating makita. No? Number one, merong existing Supreme Court decision that is making it, sige, mamaya na yun. Merong definition na ng political dynasties if you really look at what a definition looks like. No? In SK reform law, bawal na tumakbo yung SKs na may relatives sa local and national positions to the 2nd degree of affinity and consanguinity. Kung definition lang pag-uusapan natin, andyan na siya. No? And the Constitution says political dynasties are prohibited as may be defined by law.
Right.
Pwede pong isang atake ng mga civil society organizations ay to argue na this definition exists, i-operationalize na natin. And ikalawa, syempre, yung on the legislative side, passing a bill that will prohibit political dynasties and making it very clear, no, that this is the definition and dapat sumunod. Ang
Apo.
problema natin dito ay karamihan ng mga lawmakers ay miyembro ng political dynasties.
All right, and
Diba?
I have a minute left. And partylist groups, paano ho ba mapanatili ang totoong diwa what it was really envisioned to be? Because it's obviously what it isn't. It isn't what it is supposed to be.
Kailangan po magkaroon ng party list reform law kung saan ang mga totoong representante ng mga sektor, totoong advocates nito and may clear track record for their campaigns ang makaka-represent sa mga interests and sectors na to. At hindi kung sino-sino lang, hindi kung sinong contractor and sasabihin nila, I'm for this advocacy, pero totoo wala. Kailangan po may law to this so that ma-empower ang COMELEC, ma-empower din yung mga sectors at the end of the day.
Tanungin ko po kayo, ilan ho ang party list representatives now in the 20th Congress?
There are 64 now, no, with the entrance of Gabriela Women's Party representing the women
Right.
sector.
Yan po yung pinakabago. Out of the 64, Congresswoman Co, ilan po para sa inyo ang legit na party list representatives?
Well, I'd like to say we're three, no? Kami sa Makabayan Block. Us for youth, Gabriela Women's Party for women, ACT teachers for the teachers. I'd like to point to everyone yung kontra-daya findings, no, that out of the 150 plus party lists that tried to run ng 2025 elections, napaka-konti lang ng totoong representasyon ng mga iba't ibang sektor. And more than half are actually dynasty fronts, corporation fronts, and contractor fronts. So, mas yun na lang po yung I'd like to speak, no, in my behalf sa studies which has decisive numbers po.
Kabataan Partylist Representative Renee Co, thank you so much for joining us.
I hope to join you po and this program on a different day para mas mapag-usapan to. Thank you very much for
We'd
the
like that
opportunity.
too. Thank you. That's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.